Hello again, everybody. Today we have a special treat of a Final Fantasy Collector booster box. I've been really wondering whether I should actually open it, but since this channel is about great art and cards that are great to play with, I couldn't really think of a product that it would be better to open. So let's get into it. This will be the fifth booster box we open as part of adding cards to a collection to then actually begin to build some commander decks later on. So what we are aiming for today is basically beautiful arts on playable cards. Of course, you could always hope for Chocobo. It is actually super playable, so that would also be a fun pull. But yeah, let's see what we get in these quite nice looking packs. Oh, at least they're easy to open. I feel that sometimes the collectors are super tight. This seems easy enough. All right, here we go. First, a nice bird token and a wizard token. Then we have Ultima Origin of Oblivion, legendary creature god. Flying, whenever it attacks, put a blight counter on target land for as long as that land has a blight counter on it. It loses all land types and abilities and has tap to add a colorless. And whenever you tap a land for colorless, add an additional. Well, we actually pulled this specific one though in non-foil from the play booster box, so this is certainly a duplicate, but a nice hit nonetheless. And we have Dawn, Warrior's Legacy in regular foil, 3 and a red. It's a reprint of Mystic's Mastery, sorcery, exile target card that's an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it, and you may cast a copy without paying its cost. Exile Dawn, Warrior's Legacy. Then it has Overload for 5 and 3 red. Alright, so if we end up building something with Storm similar, that might be really nice. We have Blitzball Stadium, X and a blue artifact. When this artifact enters support X, can't actually remember what support means. Go for the goal, 3 and tap until end of turn. Target creature gains. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card for each kind of counter on it, and it can't be blocked this turn. So for each kind of counter, okay, so of course +1 counters, there are death touch counters, flying counters. Yeah, I haven't actually built a deck ever that I think this would fit into, but maybe. Probably also something that I'm missing. Oh, and a wind crystal. That is super nice. 2 white for legendary artifact. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. So very powerful in the right deck. Beautiful art with the green crystal in the middle. And then 4 and 2 white and tap it. Creatures you control gain flying and lifelink until end of turn. Yeah, this one. There's a lot of potential to go into a deck. Then we have Sphere Grid, 1 and a green. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Nice. And creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have reach and trample. Okay, also very powerful. And I do like the look of that grid. It's like almost pops out of the card in a 3-dimensional way. Then we have Choco, Seeker of Paradise. 1, a green, a white, and a blue for a legendary creature bird. Whenever 1 or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of them into your hand, then put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest into your graveyard. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, Choco gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So great for a landfall deck together with all of the chocobos potentially, and all of the various birds in this set. So also potentially very playable. Then we have a nice foil mountain with, is it like a temple or something on a hilltop? Yeah, nice looking. Then we go into the uncommon. Summon Fenrir 2 and a green. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And then the last one, draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest power or tie for the greatest power. If you're playing something where sagas matter, it might just be good enough. But other than that, it's potentially quite expensive to pay for, especially since it's only basic land. But let's put it in the maybe pile. Then we have Garnet, Princess of Alexandria, green and a white for a human noble cleric 2/2. Lifelink, whenever Garnet attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. Okay, so interaction with sagas, that's nice, definitely playable. And actually, if the colors had been better, it would actually go well with the blue one we pulled before, the Blitzball Stadium, because of course a counter is also a lore counter. So in this set there are actually natively more counters. Then we have side quest, play Blitzball 2 and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. At the end of combat on your turn, if a player was dealt 6 or more combat damage this turn, transform this enchantment, then attach it to a creature you control. World Champion, Celestial Weapon, double overdrive, equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has double strike. It equips for 3, so a bit expensive to equip. And then the other ability here, is that actually playable? So one creature at your combat step gets +2/+0. That's not a lot. And then you can give, I'm going to say that's probably not playable. And we have Summon Esper Ramu. First step is, it's a 3/3 Saga Wizard for 2 and 2 red. This creature deals damage equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard to target creature an opponent controls. So I'm guessing some type of spell slinger deck maybe. And then wizard you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It costs 4. It's a 3/3. If you really care about enchantment, it might barely be playable, but I'm guessing not. Then we have Samurai's Katana, 2 and a red. Job select. Crit creature gets +2/+2, has trample and haste, and is a samurai in addition to its other types. So basically, this comes in with a hero, so it will then be a 3/3 samurai with trample and haste, so you can swing with it once. That is nice, but then the equip is 5, so probably not playable either. We have a Crossroad Village, so a bit of mana fixing. Call the Mountain Chocobo. Search your library for a mountain card, reveal it, put it into a hand, then shuffle. Create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and then it has flashback for 5 and a red. So this is actually just barely playable. It does allow you to search for a mountain, so non-basic land, but also you will need 4 mana to cast it, but there's not a lot of tutors in red, so it might be playable, especially if you're playing landfall. And then at common we get white Auracite, 2 and 2 white for an artifact. When it enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until this artifact leaves the battlefield. And then you can tap for white. So basically this costs 3 to play, and then it has a bit of ramp, but it's also only one opponent it hits, so probably too expensive removal. Okay, so a lot of playable cards in the first one. Still hoping for a bit of the exciting alt arts. And I am also a big fan of search foils, so that would also be nice. We have a hero token, with a copy on the back. Let's see. Then we have Kuja, Genome Sorcerer. 2 are black and a red. So this is a kind of full art poster frame. Nice. Legendary creature, human mutant wizard. 3 and 4. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell. This token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if you control 4 or more wizards, transform Kuja. We did also have this card in the regular art in the play booster, but this is actually super powerful. If a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So that goes for both of the tokens and other wizards on the battlefield. So nice and beautiful. Then we have Clive Rosfield, a 1, a black, and a red. For white, for wheel, Smasher the Fierce. Legendary creature, Goblin Berserker. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, choose an opponent at random. Clive Rosfield deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to that player or planeswalker that player controls. Nice card. We did have that exact one, including the art, in the play booster box as well. So, and then we have another Sphere Grid, but that's playable in multiple decks, so that's okay. Then we have General Leo Christoph, 4 and a white, legendary creature, human soldier. When it enters, return up to 1 target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature you control. Okay, so if you have some tokens in play, you return something, this can become very big, very swingy. Probably too expensive to be a really good commander, but definitely a playable card. I like it. Then we have Zodiac, Umbral God, 5 black. Okay, hard to cast. Legendary creature god, 5/5 with indestructible. And when it enters, each player sacrifices half the non-god creatures they control of their choice, rounded down. Whenever a player sacrifices another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Zodiac. So, like a sweeper, but it will also hurt your own stuff, but then it can become super big in the same turn if there are a lot of things in play. So, this can very, very easily enter as a 10/10 or 12/12, and if you have something that double counters, it's going to be even wilder. So, yeah, very nice, very playable. Loved the art on that one. Then we have Robon, Bull of Alamigo, 1 and a red for a 2/2 human warrior. Ward, pay life equal to Robin's power. When Robin attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. So free equip, very nice in equipment heavy decks. So certainly also playable. Then we have a nice forest. Is that like a small lake or something? I don't know, but it's definitely beautiful in this foil. Then we go into Summon Shiva, a 3 and 2 blue for 4/5 Saga Elemental. First 2 abilities, tap target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. And then the third ability, draw a card for each tapped creature your opponent controls. So the final step, they can be manipulated, but if you have opponents, in Commander you may have several opponents, and if they have attacked, you will draw cards, so it will kinda maybe lure them into not attacking, or if they do, you draw cards. I don't know, this could be really swingy. It could give you 6 cards and be super good, or it might give you none. We have Cloud of Darkness, 2 a black and 2 green for 3/3 Avatar with flying. When it enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. So it's only 1 creature that you can kill with this one. It does cost 5 mana and fairly specific. I'm probably not super playable, but let's put it in the maybe pile because of the art at least. Then we have Sid, Timeless Artificer, 2 a white and a blue for human artificer, 4/4. artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Sid Timeless Artificer, and then you can cycle it for a white and a blue. So there are multiple art versions of this one, but it's worth noting that it doesn't actually buff itself, but still definitely a playable card, especially since we pulled 1-2 Sids in the play booster box we opened earlier. Then we have self-destruct, 1 and a red for an instant. Target creature you control deals X damage to any other target and X damage to itself, where X is its power. So you get to destroy one thing, but then you are likely also destroying yourself, which could be good if you trigger stuff when your own things die. Going to put it in the maybe pile in the right deck. It might be playable. Then we have Overkill, 2 and black. Instant target creature gets -0, -999 until end of turn. So this one gets around indestructible, which is nice and flexible, so goes in the playable pile. Then we have Cornered by Black Mages, 1 and 2 black for sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. Create a 0/1 black wizard creature token. I'm going to say it's sorcery speed. It's only one opponent in commander. I don't think that's playable. Then we have Summon GFF Ifrit. 2 first abilities on this 3/2 Saga Demon. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. And then the 2 next ones add red. Barely playable if you really care about sagas, but not super interesting. Then we have a Gobu Gardener, 1 and a green for Plant Beast, 1/3, and it taps for green. A bit of ramp in green can be a good thing, especially maybe if you have a deck that cares about plants or beasts, so it goes in the maybe pile. Alright, so no searches yet. I do hope we get some, because they are typically very beautiful. Alright, so let's see what the token is this time. A nice horror with a hero on the backside. And then you go into a Buster Sword in the beautiful, beautiful art with the regular foil. That looks very beautiful. It costs 3. Equipped creature gets 3/2. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost. Equipped 2. So you have spent 5 mana before this is attached to something. But then you will begin drawing cards. And potentially you could attach this to something that can't be blocked, and then you will always also get a free card from your hand. Super powerful, super playable, and very beautiful art. Then we have Imperial City of Arcadis. It's a reprint of Wall of Omens for 1 and a white. So nice foil on that one. A creature wall defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. So if you have something that cares about walls or defenders, it's good because it replaces itself. It's only an uncommon, but yeah, certainly in the playable. Then we have Titus Yuna's Guardian for a green, a white, and a blue. Human Warrior, 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. And then whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. Potentially very interesting commander, where you can do a lot of trickery with counters, make them grow. It's a good color combination, beautiful art. Yeah, nice. It's also a mythic. Then we have Summon Good King Mog the 12th for 4 and a white, 4/4 Saga Moogle. First ability is create 2/1/2 white Moogle creature tokens with lifelink. And then the next two, whenever you cast a non-creature spell this turn, create a token that's a copy of a non-saga token you control. And then on the final, you get to put 2+1/+1 counters on each other Moogle you control. Boom, boom, boom. If you build around it, if you care about the life link, if you care about the counters, like with Tidus before, this could be playable, and it's super cute art. So that's a nice one. Let's just move the pile a bit. Then we have Sandy, Dark Mage, 2, a blue and a black for a 3/3 human wizard, Menace. It gets +1/+1 for each non-creature, non-land card in your graveyard. So will very often be like a 7/7 or an 8/8 for 4. So, and it's a wizard, definitely also a playable card. Then we have Gidor, Aristocratic Capital, a land, a town, which also has an adventure for 4 and 2 blue. Target opponent mills half their library rounded down, and this land enters tap. So in a deck that cares about milling, this is definitely good. Then we have a nice plane. So this is kind of like a saloon, sci-fi saloon. Yeah, nice. Then we go into Crystal Fragments, an artifact equipment for 1. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It costs 1 to equip, and then for 5 and 2 white, exile this equipment, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. So let's see. Oh, it turns into Summon Alexander, a Saga construct for 3. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn, and it does that for 2 turns. Nice. And then a 3rd turn, tap all creatures your opponents control. This can be very swingy in Commander. And yeah, initially it's only a small equipment, but it's also only 1 to get out there. You may care about artifacts potentially. So also only 1 to equip. Yeah, very swingy card with nice art, definitely playable. Then we have Stolen Uniform, a blue, 1 blue instant. Choose target creature you control, and target equipment, gain control of that equipment until end of turn. Attach it to the chosen creature. When you lose control of that equipment this turn, if it's attached to a creature you control, unattach it. So fun if your opponents have equipment that you can steal, otherwise it's a dead card. Playable in the right circumstances, but yeah, hard to know. We have Lionheart for 4 colorless. When this equipment enters, it deals 2 damage to any target. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Equip 2. Probably too expensive to be playable in Commander. Sleep Magic, blue for and then you enchant a creature. When this aura enters, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. When an enchanted creature is dealt damage, sacrifice this aura. So you can kind of pause your opponent a little bit. Maybe you care about enchantments. It is inexpensive, not super good, but let's put it in the maybe pile. Dragoon's lands, 1 and a white for an artifact equipment with job select. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, and there's a knight in addition to its other types. During your turn, equipped creature has flying, and then it equips for 4, and that is too much. You may potentially play something that you get free equip, but I don't think you can count on it. Then we have Ahriman, 2 and a black for 2/2 Eye Horror with flying and death touch. You can pay 3 to sacrifice another creature or artifact and draw a card. That ability may make it barely playable. So let's put it in the maybe pile. Then we get an Adventurous Inn, choose a land town. You gain a little bit of life. You get colorless, probably not in Commander, but you never know. Resentful Revelation, 1 and a black sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into a hand and the rest into a graveyard. And it has flashback, so you kind of draw 1 out of 3 but it doesn't count as a draw. It's sorcery speed. I don't think this is good enough for commander. All right, no searches yet, no chocobos, which I'm also not expecting. But we have seen some playable cards, so that's nice. Something to build around. Let's see what kind of, get another bird token here with a hero on the other side. Let's see what we begin with. We begin with Ject, Reluctant Guardian, 3 and a black for 4/3 human warrior with menace. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may exile it, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. And it has menace, so it requires 2 to block. So let's see what we get. When it transforms, you get a 7/7 Saga Nightmare. Each opponent discards a card and you draw a card. And then at the final step, each opponent sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. So some powerful abilities, and you get to swing with it as a 7/7 with menace as well. How much did it cost? 3 and a black. Yeah, this is, especially if you care about discards, I think this is playable. Nice. Then we have Princess Sarah, which is a reprint of Azusa, Lost But Seeking for 2 and a green. For 1/2 human monk, you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. So very, very heavy ramp. That's awesome. Can be used in many decks. Oh, and then we get a foil, a search foil, full art of Cloud X Soldier, and it's on a mythic. That's super nice. It's hard to see. Yeah, I guess we can see it from this angle. Super nice search. 2 a red, a green, and a white for 4/4 human soldier mercenary with haste. And when it enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. So that could be the Buster's Sword from before. And whenever it attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. So it's for each equipped attacking creature. They don't need to hit, they just need to attack. So any kind of equipment that's super cheap to attach will work with this. Okay, super nice. I think this is one of the most interesting hits so far. Definitely something we can build around and very beautiful. Then we have Papalumo, Totolumo, a white and a black for a 1/2 dwarf wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals damage to each opponent. Deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. And then you can pay 4 and tap it, sacrifices, and each opponent who lost life this turn sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. This is going to go so nice into any deck that cares about tokens and sacrificing and things dying. Because you will frequently also have non-creature spells in those. Yeah, nice. Could also be a cheap commander. It is cheap to get out there. That's always nice. Then we have Memories Returning for 2 and 2 blue. Sorcery, reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, then choose an opponent. They put 1 on the bottom of your library, then you put 1 into your hand, then they put 1 on the bottom of your library, and then you put the other into your hand, and it has flashback for 7 and 2 blue. So basically you pay a total of 4, which gets you 3 cards, 1 of which is the best out of 5. So it's probably a fairly decent draw spell. Would have, of course, been nice if it was instant, but still playable. Then we have Jill, Shiva's Dominant for 2 and a blue. When it enters, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And then you can pay 3 and 2 blue to exile it and return it to the battlefield transformed, where it comes in as Shiva, Warden of Ice. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. It's a 4/4 Saga Elemental. And then the final ability, tap all lands your opponents control, exile Shiva, and then return it to the battlefield. So it doesn't actually die when it resolves the final chapter. I'm unsure how good this is, but could be something if you really build around it. Then we have a nice full art swamp with crystals in some kind of cave with a waterfall. Nice. Secret Rendezvous, 1 and 2 white for sorcery. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. Always good with a bit of politics in Commander. Ultimisia, Time Sorceress, 3 a blue and a black for 4/5 human warlock. And when it enters or attacks, surveil 2. Then at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 4, 2 blue, 2 black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do transform, so this was expensive. Let's see what it does. Ultimisia, Omnipotent, 7/7 Nightmare Warlock with Menace. When this creature transforms into Ultimisia, take an extra turn. So you get an extra turn for 8 mana and exiling 8 cards. It's not a lot, but also it gets a bit bigger. I don't know, maybe barely playable in the right deck. Rufus Shinra, 1 a white and a black for 2/4 human noble. And when it attacks, if you don't control a creature named Darkstar, create Darkstar, a legendary 2/2 white and black dog creature token. It's not a lot, but of course you will get the token if you attack multiple times. You may care about it dying. Could be okay. Probably too expensive. Then we have Sackfair 1. Sackfair enters with a +1/+1 counter on it, so it comes in as a 1/2. You can pay 1 to sacrifice it, and target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. And then you put its counters on a creature and attack and equipment that was attacked to Sackfair to that creature. So if you want to do some shenanigans with counters, could be okay. Then we have Realm Sketching for 2 and 2 blue. Sorcery, create a token that's a copy of target artifact, creature, or land. So it is expensive, but it can also copy anything that's non-legendary almost. So yeah, playable in the right deck for sure. Grand Pulse Ochu, 1 green for 1/1 plant beast with Death Touch. So that's always a good blocker. But I don't think this is Commander playable. Then we have one of the regular tap towns. But yeah, some nice moon art in the background on this. Then we have Shinra Reinforcements, 2 and a black for Human Soldier, 2/3. And when this creature enters, mill 3 cards and you gain 3 life. Definitely not for Commander. Can work in sealed. Alright, so we got our first beautiful search foil in this one, and on an interesting Commander nonetheless. So that was nice. Alright, so let's see. First we do the token. Nice little treasure with a different hero on the other side. And then we go into Vincent Valentine. 2 and 2 black for a 2/2 assassin. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters on Vincent Valentine equal to that creature's power. Whenever it attacks, you may transform it. So it very, very quickly gets a lot of counters. If anything of any of your opponents dies, this can become very big super fast and do. Yeah, it's not the search foil, but even the regular foiling looks very nice on these. Then we can transform into Galleon Beast, trample lifelink 3/2. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped front face up. So basically, unless you exile, it's very hard to get rid of. And notice that you don't lose the counters when this transform. And then you get lifelink. So does cost 2 and 2 black, but super, super powerful card. Also potential Commander, but can go in a lot of different decks. Very nice. Then we have Memories of Nibelheim, a reprint of Stroke of Midnight, 2 and a white for an instant, destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human creature token. So it's not the cheapest removal in white, but on the other hand, it's very flexible since it's non-land permanent. And it is an instant, so definitely playable, and a nice screenshot from one of the games. Beautiful. That was an uncommon. Then we have Gada and Lusu for 2 and a white. 1/1 human soldier with flash, always nice. When it enters, choose target creature you control. If damage would be dealt to that creature this turn, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So that's excellent. If a creature gets blocked, basically it just becomes big and stays in play. Yeah, that's a fun swingy card, and it's not too expensive. Nice. Then we have Rico, Resourceful Guardian for 2 and a blue. Human Artificer 2/3. Whenever I put one or more counters on a creature until end of turn, that creature can't be blocked by creatures your opponents control. So do notice this is also for all of the saga creatures. They will be unblocked whenever they can't be blocked. That's nice. And then you can pay 1 and tap it to move a counter from target creature and opponent controls onto target creature you control. So you can make an additional thing unblockable. Yeah, that's very interesting. Also as a commander to build around. But then it's only blue, so for commander, I wonder if we have the right cards. But yeah, very interesting. Then we have red 8, Proud Warrior, 1 a red and a green for 3/3 Beast Warrior with Vigilance and Trample. Other modified creatures you control have Vigilance and Trample, so that also everything with counters, nice. Everything with equipment attached. And when it enters, return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. For 3, that's a lot of value. It has the warrior type. Yeah, very interesting card. Then we have Cypher Almacy for 3 and a red. When a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. It's a 3/4 human knight. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So if you're able to hit with this, you'll get 3 things. And if something attacks alone, it gets double strike. Might be a tad too expensive, but still fun. Oh, then we have that beautiful foil swamp with some kind of creature sitting on top of a small building or mountain. Nice. We have Ambrosia Whiteheart, 1 and a white for a 2/2 bird with flash, and when it enters, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. And whenever a land you control enters, Ambrosia Whiteheart gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So you could actually return a land to your hand so that you have something to play to trigger your landfalls. So yeah, in a landfall deck, nice. Then we have Prompto Argento, 1 and a red for a 2/2 human scout with haste. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, create a treasure token. Borderline playable in the right deck. Then we have Summon Fenrir, 2 and a green. We had that one earlier. Borderline playable again. Then we have Valkyrie Aerial Unit for 5 and 2 blue for 5/4. It does have affinity for artifacts, so it can come in cheaper, potentially only for 2/2. It has flying, and when it enters, whale 2. If you're really heavy on artifacts, it could be just good enough. Then we have Gaius van Balsar, 2 and 2 black for 3/2 human soldier, and when it enters, you can choose one. You can either get each player to sacrifice a creature token, or a non-token creature, or an enchantment of their choice. So this is also you, but let's say you don't have an enchantment, your opponents do, then they all sacrifice something. And of course this gets around hexproof and indestructible as well. So as a bit of a fun card to play, I think it's okay. And we have another one of these dual color land towns, Windurst Federation Center. Nice with that world tree kind of art. Then we have Gigantoad, 3 and a green for 4/4. As long as you control 7 or more lands, this creature gets +2/+2. Definitely not for commander. Dreams of Laguna, 1 and a blue for an instant, so whale 1, then draw a card. So you fix your draw a little bit, and it has flashback. Yeah, might be barely playable. So let's put it in the maybe pile. Okay, so again, I mean, so many interesting playable cards in this set. That's awesome. That's exactly what we're looking for. Oh, let's not spoil it before we look at the token. A young female hero and a nice knight token. I don't think I've seen that one before. Beautiful. Then we go into Stealth King Google Merchant, 1 for a 1/2 Moogle with lifelink, and go pay 2 and tap it, and target opponent gains control of another target permanent you control. If they do, you draw a card. I don't know, you can give them something that they don't want, or maybe just something cheap and draw a card, and it has lifelink. Unsure how to best build around it, but it is beautiful with the foiling. Then we go into Squall Leonhard, reprint of Damita Capassion, Paragon, 2 and a white for a 2/2 human knight with first strike, vigilance, lifelink, a lot of abilities. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yeah. Yeah, very playable in an equipment deck. And we have another one of Jekt, Reluctant Guardian, this time in a non-foil. But yeah, it's a beautiful card. Then we have the Warring Triad, 3 colorless for a 5/5 god with flying, trampler, and haste. As long as there are fewer than 8 cards in your graveyard, the Roaring Triad isn't a creature. Then you can tap it to mill a card. Target player adds 1 mana of any color. So it's a mana dork. It puts things in your graveyard, and it becomes a creature when there's enough things in your graveyard. What's not to like? This is a super playable card, and yeah, very interesting art on it as well. Nice. Oh, then we have a full art Ultima, 3 and 2 white for sorcery. Destroy all artifacts and creatures and end the turn. Initially, I couldn't really figure why the end of turn was there. But what it does mean is that if you or if anybody have stuff that triggers when things die, it won't actually trigger because the turn just ends at the moment of destruction. At least that's what I've read. So you can get around a lot of all of the death triggers with this. So that makes it kind of a interesting sweeper, especially if you don't have anything that depends on it. So yeah, nice. Then we have Minwu, White Mage, 3 and 2 white for 3/3 human cleric. Vigilance, lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each cleric you control. Yeah, definitely. It's a tad expensive, but if you are really playing clerics, it could be good. Don't know how many of those we have. Then we have a nice mountain. Yeah, I've seen that one before. It almost looks a bit Lord of the Ringsy, but yeah, quite nice. We have Summon Fat Chocobo, 4 and a green for 4/4 Saga Bird, and then you get another bird token when it enters, and then on the next 3 chapters, creatures you control gain trample until the end of turn. In just the right deck, where the trample can also matter for you, maybe barely playable, and I do like the art. Then we have another Sack Fair. Then we have side quest Catch a Fish for 2 and a white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform this enchantment. So you pay 2 and a white, then you kinda get to draw something in the next turn. And if you do, it transforms into a land and a white land, and then you can sacrifice an artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Playable in the right deck for sure. Tad expensive, but playable. Then we have Queen Ku Gourmet for 2 and a green for 2/3 Q. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature token are created instead. And then you can pay 2 and sacrifice a frog to put a +1/+1 counter on greener. So if you have something where you really generate a lot of tokens, you'll also get frogs. I don't know. Might be barely playable. Don't think it's busted in any way. Ambrosia Whiteheart, 1 and a white for a 2/2 bird. Yes, this was the yeah, we had that one playable. We have the world map. One for an artifact that you can sacrifice to search for a basic land, or you can pay 3 and tap it to search for any land. So a land tutor for 2. I think that's decent also because it's non-green, and you can do it like in increments. So it's not bad at all. You're not alone. 1 white instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And if you control 3 or more creatures, it gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Going to say that's not good enough for commander. Then we have a tapped town, Guarda Salem, Farplane Gateway. Enters tapped. All the art reminds me of that other one we had earlier. Yeah, nice. Alright. Would be nice if we got at least one more search in the remaining 6 packs, but so much playable stuff in here that at this point I don't really care. And we have a food token with a proper meal on it, and another hero. Alright, let's see what we get. We get a Summon Leviathan, 4 and 2 blue for 6/6 Saga Leviathan. Return each creature that isn't a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent to its owner's hand. So, kind of tribal sweeper. Then until end of turn, whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, or Octopus, or Serpent attacks, draw a card. Yeah, I have a Merfolk deck. Could be fun, a lot of card draw. Yeah, I think, and it is a very nice art, Japanese style dragon, I think. Yeah, beautiful, playable, and it has Ward 2. Vanadial Adventurers, a reprint of Laboratory Maniac for 2 and a blue for 2/2 Human Wizard. If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Yeah, if you are playing that strategy, it's a good card, but it's very few decks that actually play that strategy. Then we have Summon Marcus Sisters, 4 and a green for 5/5 Saga Fairy. Then you choose one at random. Okay, haven't seen that before. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature, or put a shield counter on target creature, you gain 3 life, or this creature fights up to 1 target creature and opponent control. So that's interesting. That it's at random, and it comes in with haste, and it can target itself if need be. Don't know if it's powerful, but it's certainly fun, and it does look beautiful. Oh, Vivi Onchia. 1 a blue and a red for 0/3 legendary creature wizard. So, guessing you've heard of Vivi. Is the most busted card in this set. I've seen it break standard where somebody was able to hit for like 1 million in a turn, because you can keep on casting spells, keep on adding counters and making this bigger if you have a lot of cheap stuff. Super busted card. I'm thinking it will get banned eventually, but a nice hit. Then we have Tranced Waters, 4 and a white for 3/5 Human Warrior. Has flash, and when it enters another target legendary permanent you control, gain indestructible for as long as you control Tranced Waters. That's nice, especially as a flash. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Tranced Waters gains indestructible until end of turn. Interesting. It is expensive, but it will put a body in play, will protect your stuff. It is a Human Warrior. Yeah, nice. Doesn't look too shabby either. Then we have Balam Garden Seed Academy. Land town, it enters tapped, taps for green and blue, and then you can pay 5 a green and a blue and tap it, so basically 8 mana to transform it, and it costs 1 less to activate for each other town you control. And if you do, you get a Balam Garden Airborne 5/4 flyer, and whenever it attacks, draw a card. Flexible lands are always interesting. I'm not sure if this is the most powerful one I've seen, but could be fun. A nice swamp. What are we? Is that pirate ships that have gone ashore or something? Yeah, looks nice. Very dark. Omega Heartless Evolution, 5 a green and a blue for an 8/8 robot. So you get a lot of stats, and when it enters, for each opponent, tap up to 1 target non-land permanent that opponent controls. Put X stun counters on each of those permanents, and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. So each opponent may get something tapped for 3-4 turns. You get X life. If you had also drawn X cards, maybe. I do think this is too expensive, but yeah, let's put it in the maybe pile. Then we have Fang, Fearless, Icy, 2 and a black. Human Warrior, 2/3. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then it can melt, which is nice. So we have 1/2 of a melt here. Let's see if I'll put it over here to the side. Then we'll see if we pull the other half later. Ultima we had, barely playable. Gladius Amicitia for a red and a green for 6/6. When it enters, you get a land onto the battlefield tapped. It's any land, so that's nice, but also you are paying 6. And then it has whenever a land you control enters, another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. I mean, ramp is nice, but if you already have 6 mana, then it's very late ramp. But yeah, I don't know. In the very right landfall deck, it might be barely playable, but I do think it's too expensive. Then we have a Stolen Uniform, 1 blue for an instant. Yes, we had that one. That was nice if your opponent actually has equipment. At least it goes into the fun pile. Then we have Blitzball Shot, 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+3. Gains trample on the end of turn. Not good enough for commander. Black Mage's Rod we had. I don't think that is good enough for commander either. Sabotender, 1 and a red for 2/1 reach with landfall. Whenever land you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, in a landfall deck, I think it's just good enough. Alright. So we have gotten a couple of nice mythics, 4 mythics so far. Let's see what we get in this one. Okay, let's see the token first. So another treasure with yet another type of hero. And then we get, Diane Bahamut's Dominant. Human Noble Knight, 3/3. During your turn, Diane and other knights you control have flying. When Diane enters, creates a 2/2 white knight creature token. And then you can pay 4 and 2 white and tap it to exile it and return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Let's see. So this comes in as Bahamut, Warden of Light, 5/5 Saga Dragon. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. And those creatures gain flying until end of turn. You get that twice. And then on the 3rd chapter, destroy target permanent, exile it, and then return it to the battlefield, which gives you, yes, another knight token and all your knights flying. Yeah, very interesting card. Beautiful in this full art foil version. Yeah, very playable, good hit. Then we have a Promise Fulfilled, a reprint of Light Up the Stage. 2 and a red sorcery with Spectacle. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Could be barely playable. At least it's nice in this foil version. Then we have Gulbus Crystal Collector. 1 blue and 1 black for 1/4 human wizard. whenever an artifact you control enters surveil 1. Yeah, very easy to trigger. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more artifacts, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so you get something back if you control 4 more artifacts. And then if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to that card's power. Okay. This is powerful and it's cheap. It's an interesting color combination and it's beautiful. Yeah, this could be go on the list for the one we might build. Then we have Owaka Traveling Merchant, 1 and a blue for 1/2 human citizen. And you can tap it to remove a counter from a non-land permanent you control, draw a card. So this can keep sagas in play indefinitely. You don't actually trigger the saga when removing a counter, but you can kind of like get to replay the same chapters. So very fun, not too expensive, and drawing a card we always like, so that's nice. Then we have Sabin Master Monk for 4 and a red, 4/3 human noble monk with double strike. Then you can blitz. I'm not sure what blitz is, but it's 2 and 2 red, and you discard a card. Okay, you can cast it, so it's kind of like flashback but different. So you can recast it for 2 and 2 red and discarding a card if you want the double strike back in. Unsure how powerful this is. It is kind of expensive, but probably fun in the right deck. Then we have Bolthia and Fran, 1 a red and a green. Human rabbit for 3 with reach, and vehicles you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance and reach. And whenever a vehicle crewed by it attacks, if it's the first combat phase of your turn, you can pay 1 a red and a green. And if you do after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So you can really do some trickery, and it can be like super cheap vehicles as well. Fun card. Have a nice island. Unsure what this scene is. Some kind of ice world, maybe. Nice. Oh, then we got a foil, a search foil. It's sadly an uncommon, but it's beautiful. Sedan Tantalus Thief, 3 a red and a white. For 3/3 and enters, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. And whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token. Fun. I'm not sure if it's playable, but it's nice looking. I will just put it up here just because it's a search file so that we can count those afterwards. Then we have Friar Crescent, a nice bit of ramp in red that you can use to cast an equipment spell or activate an equipment ability, and it's a 1/1 red knight. Nice and playable. We have a side quest card collection, 3 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever this enchantment enters, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. At the beginning of your end step, if 8 or more cards are in your graveyard, transform it. So you basically get 3 cards into hand, and then you can discard the 2 worst cards from your entire hand. Not too bad, kind of expensive. Let's see what it transforms into. Magic card, artifact vehicle, 4/4 flyer, crew 1. And yeah, unsure if this is good enough, but let's put it in the maybe pile. Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. We had that one. That's definitely playable when you do sagas. Dark Knight's Great Sword, 2 and a black. Job select. The creature gets +3/+0 and is a knight in addition to its other types. And then you can pay 3 life to equip it. And that may sound expensive, but it's also not mana. So it is actually playable because it's an alternate cost. So let's say you have lifelink. Maybe you don't really care. You can just equip it. Severus Intervention, 3 and a black. Destroy target creature. You gain 2 life. This is very expensive removal. You may care about the life gain. So for that reason alone, I'm putting it in the maybe pile, but probably too expensive. Blazing Bomb, red, 1/1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 count on this creature. And then you can sacrifice it. and then deals damage equal to its power to target creature. I'm going to say non-playable. You'll need to cast a lot of 4 mana non-creature spells for that to be fun. Then we have a hit dice, 1 and a black, nice art for 1/1 Ooze Horror. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card. So if discarding matters, it might be just playable. Alright, so we got an uncommon search fall. Beautiful cards. Ideally not what we would want in search, but we'll take it. Especially since I do think it is playable in the right conditions. So we may get one more search, but I'm unsure. We have hero on yet another one. Nice. And another bird token. Beautiful. Then we go into Jill, Shiva's dominant. 2 and a blue for 2/2. Yeah, we had this one already, but it's playable, and it's these full arts with the foiling and this like poster style. Very good looking. I'm sure that there's going to be collectors for that stuff. Then we have Lucas Stadium, a reprint of Strixhaven Stadium, 3 colorless for an artifact. Taps for colorless. Then you add a point counter to it, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter from this artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on this artifact. Then if it has 10 or more point counters on it, remove them all, and that player loses the game. Okay, interesting alternate win condition. Definitely playable. A little bit of trickery. That also means that you lose less life when you get attacked. And it taps for colorless. Yeah, fun card. Then we have Midgar, City of Mako. Land town that has an adventure. Sorcery speed 2 and a black. You may sacrifice an artifact or creature. If you do, draw 2 cards, and then this land enters tapped. Add black. Yeah, not bad. Flexible lands are always very welcome, especially with beautiful art. Then we have the Masamune, 3 colorless. As long as a equipped creature is attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked. Equipped creature has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of this creature or an emblem you own to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. It equips for 2, somewhat expensive. If you put it on something indestructible, could be fun. Yeah, I think you can do some trickery with this. And again, very nice art. We had the summon Leviathan. The Regalia. 4 colorless for an artifact vehicle. 4/4 haste, and when it attacks, reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal the land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it has haste and accrues for only 1. So basically, you are guaranteed 1 land off of this. If you can attack somebody and this doesn't get killed, you can get multiple lands. Very playable, even in non-landfall decks perhaps. Then we have a beautiful island, some kind of temple close to the sea. Nice. Then we have summon Esparamu for 2 and 2 red. It's a 3/3 Saga Wizard. This creature deals damage equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard to target creature an opponent controls. It's only hitting 1. I'm going to say this is not playable in a standard or in a commander, but it is beautiful. Brochure Whiteheart. We had, goes to maybe Pal. Torkel, Fine Hound, 1 and a black for a 2/2 wolf, and whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each dog and wolf you control. So in this case, it would be a minimum of 1, and then you can tap it in the right deck. It's playable. Fun card. Ash, Princess of Dalmasca, 2 and a white for 3/2. Whenever Ash attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random color. Not playable in Commander, I'm going to say. Bad Wallace, 3 and a red for 4/4 with reach. Human Rebel. Whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of equipped creatures you control to defending player. Yeah, of course you could have 5 equipped things, but then you will lose it. I'm going to say not good enough for Commander. Sargin, 1 and a blue. Merfolk Warrior, 1/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and it can't be blocked this turn. So the can't be blocked might make this barely playable, since you can be sure to also then hit. Then we have another of these dual towns, almost like a Roman scenery on this one. Nice. Then we end on an item shopkeep, a 1 and a red. Human Citizen, 2/2. Whenever you attack, target attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn. So one thing can get menace. Might be barely playable, but I think it's unlikely. Alright, 3 packs left. Could maybe hope for one more fun playable mythic if we get lucky. So let's see what kind of token we get. Mean looking hero with a treasure on the back, and then we go into Tella Great Sage for 3, a blue and a red. 3/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. If 4 more mana was spent to cast that spell, draw 2 cards. If 8 or more mana was spent to cast the spell, sacrifice Tella, and it deals that much damage to each opponent. Yeah. So, unsure if it's playable. It's certainly gorgeous art. In the right deck, maybe, I'm unsure. Oh, then we get a rare in this slot. Kefka's Tower, reprint of Bolas Citadel, 3 and 3 black for a legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. Then you can tap it to sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. Expensive, but also super powerful. And if you're playing something with lifelink, you can basically cast stuff for free endlessly from the top of your library. Nice, especially if you can trigger it into play. And beautiful art. Was a fun pull. Observed Stasis, 3 and a blue for an enchantment aura with flash. And enchant creature an opponent controls. When this aura enters, remove enchanted creature from combat. Then draw a card for each tapped creature its controller controls. Enchanted creature loses all ability and can't attack or block. So it's almost removal. Plus you draw cards and it has flash and you may care about enchantments. Super playable, fun and swingy. Then we have the Wandering Minstrel, a black and a blue for a 1/3. Human Bard, lands you control enter untapped. That can be good. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more towns, create a 2/2 elemental creature token that's all colors. And then you can pay 3 and all colors. And other creatures you control gets X+X until end of turn, where X is the number of towns you control. So for the first line alone, it's worth it. And then everything else is potentially a bonus. Nice. And also in this full art poster style. Lord Giskel Guado, 1 and a white for a 2/1. Spirit Cleric with flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, investigate. So this is also on opponents. You may proliferate, you may do other stuff with counters. Yeah, fun card. Cheap to get into play. Another Wandering Minstrel. Then we get this beautiful island of some lake hidden in some hills with some kind of tower. Nice. Summon Primal Garuda, 3 and a white. This creature deals 4 damage to target tapped creature and opponent controls. It's a Saga Harpy for 3/3 with flyer. Another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. Not playable in Commander, but beautiful. Then we have Eden, Seed of the Sanctum, land town that taps for colorless. And then you can pay 5 and tap it to mill 2 cards. Then you may sacrifice it, and when you do, return another target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Probably too expensive, but again, it's flexible. You may be playing a colorless deck, and it's beautiful, so it goes in the maybe pile. Clash of the Econs, 1 green, and you get to choose one or more. So a target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. You can remove a lore counter from target saga, and you can put a lore counter on target saga. So basically, you can re-trigger a saga, plus you can fight something. There's sorcery speed, but if you're playing sagas, it's definitely playable. Choco Comet, X and 2 red to deal X damage to any target. And then you also create a bird. It is very expensive. It is sorcery speed. If you really care about birds, maybe, but that would be it. Then we have Eject, 3 and a blue. For instant that can be countered, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. So this can also like protect your stuff. It is expensive, say barely playable. Slash of Light, 1 and a white for an instant that deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipment you control to target creature, but it is 2. It has a lot of conditions to be powerful. I'm going to say it's not playable. Meridian Elder, 2 and a red for 1/3, and when it enters, it creates a wizard, and it is a wizard itself. So if you really care about wizards, maybe. Scorpion Sentinel for 1 and a blue for 1/4. Robot Scorpion, as long as you control 7 or more lands, this creature gets +3/+0. Not playable in Commander. Alright, second to last pack. Let's see what we get in this one. So now we are into the ones that are hard to open. Maybe that's a sign of something good. And for a token we get another bird and another hero. Would have liked with a wider range of tokens in packs like these. But then we get Ishgard, the Holy Sea, land, town, sorcery, adventure, 3 and 2 white to return up to 2 target artifact and or enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand, and it enters tapped. It's always, yeah, again, it's a flexible land, it's beautiful, probably not super powerful, but we'll take it. Then we have Gulbis, Clad in Darkness, a reprint of Sir Conrad the Grim, 3 and 2 black for a 5/4 human knight. Whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Gulbis deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you can pay 1 and a black. Each player mills a card. So you can basically trigger it by paying. That's fun. It is also expensive, but yeah, potentially a super annoying card for your opponents. You can ping them. Oh, another Buster Sword, this time in the non-foil, but it is a mythic. Oh, so we actually, I have not counted the mythics correctly because there's a Buster Sword in this one, I believe, as well. Then we have the Blitzball Stadium again. Then we have Knight, Prince of Lucis, a 1, a white, a blue, and a black. 4/3 Human Noble, lifelink. You may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. So graveyard triggery, beautiful card, nice pull. And then an Ancient Adamantoise, so some kind of tortoise, 5 and 3 green for an 8/20. Oh wow, Vigilance Ward, 3. Damage isn't removed from this creature during cleanup steps. All damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control is dealt to this creature instead. When this creature dies, exile it and create 10 tapped treasure tokens. Super expensive, super fun. This will go nice in a big bots matter deck. Nice, and it was actually also a mythic. Then a beautiful plane, somebody driving down a road in a desert somewhere. Nice. Torgal of Fine Hound. We had that one, barely playable. Beautiful art. Ash, Prince of Dalmasca, we had. Capital City, a land town, taps for colorless, and then you can use it to fix mana and you can cycle it. The cycling may just make it playable. Omega, we had. Prompto Argentum, we had. Trino, Dark City. Nice looking. Dual land. Adventurous Airship, 3 colorless for 3/2 with flyer. When this vehicle attacks, draw a card and discard a card. It's a flyer, cruiser 2, might be barely playable. Wayne's Treachery, 1 and a black. Sacrifice an artifact or creature to pay the kicker costs. So something gets -2/-2, or -6/-6 if you sacrifice something. Because it gets around indestructible, it might be barely playable, but I'm thinking not. Alright. Last pack. I think we already had, so I think we're actually up to 7 mythics already, so I don't have much faith in pulling another mythic. But let's see if we get lucky with something else. Wizard token with another hero on the front. Alright, here we go. Yes. 1 Street Thief, 2 and a red for 2/2, and it's in the nice search file. Whenever 1 or more scouts, pirates, and or rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast it if you don't create a treasure token. So it doesn't say for free, and it doesn't. Okay, so you just pay the regular cost if you want to. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a +1/+1 counter on each scout, pirate, and rogue you control. Okay, interesting. And in this beautiful search file. So let me just put it up here since it was also in search. Then we have Shadowbringers, reprint of, what does it say? Dovins Veto, a white and a blue for an instant. This spell can't be countered, counter target non-creature spell. Nice. Flexible countering. Love the art on this one. Then we have Kefka, Court Mage, 2, a blue and a black and a red for 4/5 human wizard. When it enters or attack, each player discards a card, then you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. So in this case, if somebody actually discarded this card, it would have 2 card types, human and wizard. So that can quickly draw you a lot of cards. And then you can pay 8, and each opponent sacrifices a permanent, and then it transforms into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, 5/7 flyer, avatar wizard. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. Nice, fun card. Interesting color combination. Could certainly be fun to build around, and it was actually a mythic. We have Summon Kujata, 5 and a red for 7/5 Saga Ox with Trample and Haste. When it enters, so the first chapter, this creature deals 3 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Nice. And then up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn. And then the final ability, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. When you discard a card this way, this creature deals damage equal to that card's mana value to each opponent. So super swing is super powerful. The end ability. Yeah, playable, but also expensive. Do like the art. Nice pull. Oh, then we have the Jumbo Cactua. That's actually a nice one. 5 and 2 green for 1/7, and whenever it attacks, it gets +9/9/9 +0 until end of turn. So you can do a lot of fun stuff with that if you can give it trample in any way. Your opponent is basically dead. So that's a fun one to have, and especially in that art. Then we have Sash Catroy, 3 and a green for 3/3 human pilot. When it enters, you may search your library for a bird or basic land card, put it into a hand, and whenever it attacks, put a +1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature. Yeah, you'll definitely need to build around it, but in a Bird's Matter deck, it might be okay. Then we have another planes. That's like crystal tree thing. Yeah, nice. We have a stolen uniform again. Gotten quite a lot of these. Sit, timeless artificer, so another art of those. That's nice. Then we have Ignis Sentia. We had that one. Yeah, playable. We have Magitech Armor, 3 and a white 4/4 artifact vehicle, and when it enters, it creates a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. Not good enough for commander. Then we have Cargo Ship, 1 and a blue for 2/3 artifact vehicle with flying vigilance, and you can tap it to add colorless and spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. So the fact that it's a bit of mana is of course redeeming. I don't know, might be barely playable. Magitech Infantry, 1 white for 1/1 robot soldier. This creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. And you can search your library for another Magitech Infantry, put it onto a battlefield tapped and shuffle. I am unsure, especially in Commander, of course. Then we have stock in Summoner's Sanctum, 2 and a blue. To basically remove some stuff. Yeah, barely playable. I think this is the last card. Get another Magic Pot. 3 colorless, 1/4 Goblin Construct. When this creature dies, create a treasure token. And you can pay 2 and tap it to exile target card from a graveyard. Barely playable. Alright, nice pulls. I do believe we pulled a Buster Sword that I wrongly put into this pile, if I remember correctly. Yes. So we did get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mythics, which is quite nice, and we did get 3 search files. This Cloud Mythic search file, and the Varn Street Thief, the rare search file, and an uncommon search file. I think this is all we could have hoped for. I think this was a nice box, a lot of playable cards. I think the next time we'll get into sorting them and trying to figure out exactly who our commander is going to be. So thank you for watching, and see you the next time. Bye.